Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Lost Child, Supplementary Reader, Class 9. Okay, let's go to the events. What are events took place? So, child goes to the fair. Then the child gets attracted with the other things. The child gets attracted. The child with parent reaches the fair. Various scenes of the fair. Then the child is lost. Since the topic says that lost child, the child is in very bad shape. The man tries to locate child's parents. The child is taken to the flower seller, sweetmeat shop, everywhere. Okay, so let's start the summary. It was the spring fair. All the people were going to the fair. Some walked, some rode on the horses, some in the bullock cart. The little child ran with his parents. He was overjoyed. When he remained behind, his parents asked him to come with them. He remained behind to see the toys in the shops. The little boy wanted the toys, but his parents could not offer it, could not buy it. So they asked him to look at the other things. It was the season of mustard, flowering. The fields looked gold with it. The fields were looking like gold. The dragonflies were fluttering over the mustard flowers. The child tried to catch one of them, but he was called by his mother. But he was called by his mother. He ran towards his parents. He, like an obedient boy, he ran towards his parents. He heard the door coolly. He had picked up the petals in the grove then. He also ran around the banyan tree, but again he was called by his parents. Soon the child reached the fair. He heard a sweet meat seller calling gulab jamun, rasgulla, burfi, jalebi. The sweet shops was greatly decorated with different kind of sweets. Seeing the sweets, the child's mouth was watered. He said, I want that burfi. Burfi was one of his favorite sweets, but his saying so was unheeded. So his parents were basically strict, and he was means murmuring, "I want that burfi. I want to go," but he could not speak. The child went ahead with his parents. He heard a flower seller saying, "A garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar." The child went to the flower basket. He wanted a garland, but he knew his parents would refuse, that is, refuse to buy it. So he moved on. Then he saw a balloon seller. Then he come across a balloon seller. He had various kinds of balloons that were in rainbow color. He had various kinds of balloons. The child knew his parents would not buy the balloons because once the balloon is, it would be lasting for at hardly 1 week. Again, no use. So his parents would not allow him. So he walked on with his father. So what a question might come, what all things the lost child wanted? So he wanted a balloon, a garland. Yes, he also wanted burfi. Why did he wanted only burfi? Why not other sweets? Because burfi was one of his favorite sweet. Then he wanted to take some time. He wanted to spend some time in the mustard flowering in the fields. but his mother was not allowing him. And starting, then he wanted the toys, but again, his parents could not afford it. So these were the things. The child then saw a snake charmer. He played a flute to a snake. So the child was listening to such kind of music. Here we can listen the snake charmer music. So he was playing a kind of flute to a snake. He went near the snake chamber, but he realized that his parents were telling him not to hear such kind of rough musics. His parents were telling him not to hear such kind of rough music. So he went ahead. Then he saw a merry-go-round. We of course love to, when we were small, we of course love to go in the merry-go-round, right? So then he saw a merry-go-round. Men, women, children, everyone were enjoying on the ride. Then the child got the daring and he spoke. I want to go to the roundabout, merry-go-round. Please, father, mother. But there was no reply. And here the child had been lost. So the child has been lost. So from here we will see what happens when the child is lost. So what were the things that the child wanted? He wanted to stand there and listen the rough music of snake charmer. He wanted to go in a merry-go-round. Second, third, he wanted the garlands. Fourth, garlands of flowers. He wanted the balloons. Fifth, he wanted Burfi as it was his favorite sweet. He wanted to spend time in the fields. And seventh, he wanted the toys. These were the 7 things that he wanted. Okay, next. A full deep cry rose within the child's throat. He cried, "Mother, father!" Tears rolled down his eyes. He cried and ran to and fro, pendulum to and fro. So he ran from this end to this end, again from this end to this end. But he could not see his parents. People laughed and talked. Then he ran to a shrine. There was a big crowd over there. The child went a bit ahead between the people's feet. Since he was a small kid, and we, of course, when we were also small, we tend to lose, especially in DMart. Yes, when the crowd is too big. So he went to the shrine where the big crowd was. The child went a bit ahead between the people's feet. Since he was small, he was going from here, from the people's feet. But he was pushed back. Since there was a huge crowd. And he was crying with folded cry rose. So a man heard his cry. He lifted him up in his arms. So since he was crying, a man heard his cry and lifted him in his arms. The man asked the child how he got there. So what was the first question? How did he got there? How did you come over here? He also asked him the names of his parents. Uh, who's, who is your mother, father? Yes. But the child only said, I want my father and I want my mother. The man asked the child how he got there, and he also asked him his names of the parents. But the child only said, I want my mother and I want my father. The man took the child to the merry-go-round. So now, since the child was crying, so the man thought to cool that child. he do not cry. Instead, so he gone to took the child and took the child to the merry-go-round. Okay, so he took the child to the merry-go-round. He asked him if he wanted a ride. So as I told to since he was crying, so for bringing him to give him comfort, he asked him, "Do you want the ride, child?" So he said on the rise, but the child said, I want my mother, I want my father. I hope you can connect over here, this slide. Here the child where he lost. So there the man takes, and the child wanted to go in the merry-go-round, but there he lost his father and mother, but his parents would refuse him. But now when the man is telling him, I will take to the merry-go-round, but he denied. No, I want my mother and father. Instead of merry-go-round, what is precious to me? My parents are precious. I want them. But then the child sobbed and sobbed. Then the man tells him, do you want a balloon? No. He said, I want my mother and I want my father. Again, connected with the previous situation where he wanted balloon. Then he saw a balloon seller. He had various kinds of balloons. The child knew his parents would allow it. He wanted balloon. He wanted the balloon, but he refused it when the man was giving. He said, my mother, I want my mother and I want my father. The man took the child to the flower seller. He asked him if he would like to put a flower garland around his neck. Now again, link up. He wanted the garland, but he knew his parents would refuse to buy. So the man tells him, asked him, do you want the garland so that you can tie it over your neck, But the child turned his nose because the smell was too, means he wanted his parents. So he turned his nose and he said, I want my parents. Then the man asked him which sweet he would like. Now the man tells everything that the child wanted earlier. But again, the child refused it. The child says, I want my parents. What is the moral you have learned from today's story, The Lost Child? Do answer in the comment section below. New video coming tomorrow. Summary on of the story, the fun they had. Thank you.